It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It is the Anthony Cumia Show. How is everybody? Hope you're having a great weekend. A lot of fun. Are we, we're done with soccer, right? Right? Are we just done with it? Every few years, they try to make it like people really care here in this country. It could be entertaining. I went out to a couple of the local bars in my area with some friends and watched some of the games. But it's just never gonna take off and be one of those huge sports in the United States. Maybe after the demographic shift, when the white people in this country become the minority, then maybe. But right now, I don't think a lot of people really care that much about soccer. It's fun, like I said, to go out and maybe watch a game at the bar or something. But it just doesn't have. It's not baseball. That's our sport. Baseball, football, hockey. I can't stand basketball personally, but people seem to like it. I don't know. So Spain won. Spain scored one goal against Argentina. And that really is the problem, isn't it? It's just not a very exciting game. There are moments, but it's not a very exciting game to watch when, a couple hours goes by and it's 1-0 or nothing. That just doesn't thrill me. I think scoring is a big part of what makes a sport entertaining, don't you? Mm-hmm. That's also why I don't think basketball is a very exciting sport, because they score too much. You're sitting there, and every couple of seconds they score, and that's supposed to be a big thing. When someone scores in hockey, you get that horn goes off, and everybody goes crazy. It's exciting. A touchdown in football, a home run in baseball, very exciting. Soccer, if you don't score at all, what are you doing? You're watching a bunch of men kick a ball around a giant field. And basketball, oh, wow, another 2 points. Oh, wow, there's 3 points. Oh, boy. Oh, another two. What's the score, 105 to 108? It kind of takes the thrill of the scoring out of the sport. But that's just me. I know some people really do enjoy basketball and soccer. Football, they tried to do that, too, for a while. They were trying to get us to call it football. And, you could go screw with that one. We have our football. And we will continue calling that silly game soccer. But that's it. Trump was on hand for the Spain victory over Argentina, and he's very Trump. He would not leave the stage while Spain, the entire team, was celebrating up on the platform midfield. They had the trophy, and they were celebrating, and there's Trump just standing right there on the stage with them. It was kind of, it was a weird moment. I think even the team's like, what is this guy doing up here? He's got to make, Trump's always got to make it about him. They loved me, loved that I was up there with him. But it's over. And I say, thank goodness. There's a few people that get turned on to it, I guess, and they'll start watching games, but that's got to fade pretty quickly, especially once football kicks up, and you won't hear about soccer anymore. You'll go to some bar occasionally, and there'll be a soccer game on. Usually it's at bodegas or some Spanish or European restaurant, and then you'll see the game on, and but for the most part, people don't care. They just don't. But congrats to España for their thrilling 1-0 victory over Argentina. Thrilling. Hey, you want to get involved with this very program? 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. Talking about a few things this evening, as we usually do. We cover a lot of area on this show. And Hunter Biden has been doing interviews. The balls on this guy. You know, if there's a person who should have hid under a rock or just counted his blessings, he wasn't either in prison or dead of an overdose or whatever, it's Hunter Biden. Count your blessings and go away. Figure out what you want to do with your life without trying to talk to the American people like you're a good guy. This guy's a piece of garbage. Just utter and complete garbage. The laptop story that came out and all the photos we saw, the drug use, the girls, just a degenerate. And I don't want to hear drugs or booze being an excuse. It's just stop. Just stop it. You're a grown man. You know, and I know people do drugs. They're addicted to drugs. I get it. But I honestly believe that is a personal choice that you make to be such a degenerate while you're doing your drugs. What, you can't do a little coke and act like a normal human being? I knew a few people in the 80s, did a bump or two, and I don't know. They acted like themselves, but just sped up a little bit. With a lot more energy, it seemed. But this Hunter Biden is just out and about, bashing the Trumps, talking about the Zoran Mamdani. He's praising Zoran Mamdani. No one wants to hear Hunter Biden's take on politics, that's for sure. Considering his dad goes down as one of the worst presidents this country has ever seen. Here's Hunter praising Zoran Mamdani. I think that's AC7. Let's listen to him on Mamdani.
They are, they look at people like Zoran Mamdani and they go, oh my God, it's the end of the Democratic Party. I look at Zoran Mamdani and I go, there's a leader.
I completely agree.
Every single thing that they talked about, it was, people are going to flee the city and they're going to go crazy. And
they are.
It's the worst thing that could ever happen. And the Democratic Party is going to be tagged with, this Muslim, blah, 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 blah. And here he is. And he made promises. And you know what he did? He kept them.
Yeah.
He kept them.
Mm-hmm.
He's lowering rent. He's building co-op grocery stores. He's doing something about, kindergarten, pre-kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all. That's what people care about. They care about that.
He's not a dick. He doesn't throw anybody
really,
under.
Really good.
He's really, really, really good.
Please. First of all, he's been in there, 6 months? Let's be real here. What do you think he's been doing? The keeping promises? What? The one store? Thank God he can't keep his promises because the free busing, did he keep that one? That's a disaster in the making if he ever does do that, which he won't. It just costs too much money. He lied about it during his campaign, and there you go. People bit. They bought his line of crap and voted for him. The state-run grocery store? Yeah, there's one. Good for him. What is it really going to do? Is it going to shut down other grocery stores? No, it's just another one of these socialist programs that he wants to put in place that really aren't going to do anything, positive or negative. I don't think it's going to do anything. It's just a showpiece. It's like, look what I'm doing. People leaving the city? Yeah, Hunter Biden. They are. How do you deny that? The rate people are being taxed, the prospect of more taxes, and rent freezes. He froze the rent for a certain few people in New York City. And that's at the cost of the landlords. You know, you might not like the New York City landlords that much, but they do have to make enough money to keep their buildings running and functional without it coming out of their pocket. So again, this what do they call it? Democrat, socialist, communism. It's communism. And to hear this Hunter Biden out and about on the interview circuit, it's disgusting. No one wants to hear from this guy. And like I said, how does he show his face with those pictures that were all over that laptop? Does anyone ask him questions about that? And does he just use drugs and booze as an excuse? Because that's a hell of an excuse. I don't think it works, quite frankly. I think people are disgusted by this guy, as they should be. And he ought to, like I said, hide, count his blessings, and go back to painting. Go squirt paint out of a straw on a canvas and then sell it for hundreds of thousands of dollars to foreign dignitaries who wanted access to your dad. We all saw that money laundering scheme. Let's be real here. No one cared about Hunter Biden's artwork. Unbelievable. All right, we are just getting started. 800-848-9222, and we will return with more of the Anthony Cumia Show in moments.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It is the Anthony Cumia Show, and a lot of, I was just talking about the degenerate, disgusting degenerate that is Hunter Biden. It's just become commonplace and accepted. And if you don't accept these ridiculous degenerates, you're the problem. You're the bigoted person. You know, you're the one that is intolerant. And I think it's terrible that we've gotten to that point where we don't look at some of these people and just go, get away. Just leave, shut up. We don't want you as part of our society. And we're seeing a lot of this in the transgender community. I am certain there are some transgender people that are just wonderful, wonderful people. But it just seems like everyone I see on the news or on social media, in politics, they're all crazy. They're just crazy men dressed like women, male pattern baldness, skullets. And we're supposed to go, oh, no, that's a woman. That is as much a woman as your wife or your daughter or a woman coworker, just as much of a woman. And that's insane. That is so crazy that has been beaten into people's heads. And so many people have been forced to accept that and recite it back like it's fact. And if you have a difference of opinion, you are a terrible bigot, transphobic, whatever you want to call it. So there's this Ashley Webb. This, it was like something from either SNL or even a horror movie. A lot of these transgender women, again, they look like men because they're men with dresses on. A lot of these transgender women, they look nuts. And if they were to, in a movie, let's say, open up a door and like a jump scare just kind of come out, the audience would jump. They'd go, "Oh my God, what is that?" You know, look at Buffalo Bill. You know, from Silence of the Lambs. Would you? Oh. Oh, remember that guy? That was scary. He was a scary person. And a lot of these guys, they're scary looking. And I will not be party to their degenerate fantasy that they are women and they must be treated as such and addressed as such. It's insane. So, Graham Parker had to bow out of the Maine Senate race. He was the Democrat with the Nazi tattoo, and then they said he sexually assaulted a woman. It was just this thing to get him out of there. So they have a bunch of candidates, and they were doing a debate, the Democrats, and Ashley Webb is one of these candidates. And this guy looks like Meatloaf in a dress. Either the singer, the beloved late singer Meatloaf, or literally a meatloaf in a dress would look prettier than Ashley Webb. So Ashley is in a debate and being asked questions. And here is one of the responses. This is nuts. Let's listen to Ashley Webb. There it is, AC2.
Oh, I ran for office several times. Didn't win, but I did run. And then, I'm a songwriter, and then I write my own books. And then, I suppose my transparency, I wouldn't lie to the people, and I wouldn't deceive the people like we're being deceived right now. Like, we get lied to, smoke and mirrors, like what's going on with ICE. And I suppose the biggest thing is, like, I'm just an angry citizen now, and if I got elected, I'd be an angry senator.
Grandpa Eddie, where's Spot, Eddie? Well, I am an angry person. What the hell? And really looked like Meatloaf in a dress. Yeah. Absolutely. It was frightening. It was frightening. And then that was a question, what do you feel qualifies you to be a senator from the great state of Maine? And, well, I play guitar. I write music and books. Yeah? And what the hell does that mean? What is that supposed to get you? That you do that stuff? And I don't deceive people. I'm not a liar and don't deceive people. Your entire life is a lie and a deception. You're very bad at it because I don't think you're fooling anybody, but you're certainly trying. That whole life of yours is a deception. Here is another clip from Ashley Webb. I don't even know what to say about this one. Let's listen, though. Another Ashley Webb clip, AC3.
And then with the trans community, like, we're being dehumanized. They say that we want to hurt people. I don't want to hurt anybody. I just want to use the bathroom. And if they want me to use the men's room, I will, but I don't want to be assaulted.
Yeah, there's a problem, isn't it? You don't know which bathroom to use. Maybe since you're a man, you should use the men's room. And if you're going to be going out and into the men's, maybe you could dress, like a man. Maybe you got to understand that you are mental. You have psychological problems. I can't play along with this anymore. I'm not playing along with this farce that these are women and should be treated as such. Yeah, you're a guy, use the men's room. If you want to go into the men's room with your wig and your dress and your high heels, look, I don't advocate violence against anybody, that's for sure. I would never say that anyone deserves to be thrown a beating. What I'm saying is you're probably going to feel uncomfortable in there, that people will say things, make jokes, laugh. You could hope no one physically assaults anybody, but this is the life you chose. And you chose a lifestyle where people are going to look at you and laugh. Drag, men dressing as women has been a staple in comedy for years because it's funny to straight men to see a guy in a dress. You go, oh, this must be some form of comedy because there's no way that this guy thinks he looks like a woman. And I certainly am not going to play the game and lie to myself that this is a woman. Klinger from MASH is a great example. Klinger goes into Harry Potter's office in his dress, a big floppy hat, and the canned laughs were going off. Laughter abounds because it's funny. So if this guy, Ashley Webb, they always pick those names like, oh, Ashley. If you want to go into the men's room, well, that's on you. First of all, yeah, you shouldn't be allowed in the women's room or locker rooms or anything else that are dedicated spaces for women who want privacy in those spaces. You should not be in there. So if you want to use the men's room, if you're going out to a restaurant, how about you put on a pair of pants and some shoes? Don't wear a wig. Don't wear makeup. And then you could use the men's room and no one's going to bother you. Because that's who you are. We shouldn't have to play your stupid game that you're a broad. You're not. Plenty of phone calls up there. We'll get to those next with more of the Anthony Cumia Show.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show. We're talking about this mental patient, Ashley Webb, who's running or trying to become the Democrat candidate for Senate in the state of Maine. What a proud moment for the state of Maine. Long shot Maine Senate candidate Ashley Webb is how the media is running this. And not just the voice, not just the delusion, walking around dressed like a woman that people should have to address this guy as a woman. He's even nuttier. This Ashley Webb is even nuttier than we had imagined. I don't even know how to do this story on traditional over-the-air radio, FCC compliant radio. I'm going to do it, though. I'm a professional. I will rise to the occasion. But this Ashley Webb has said that I'll play the game for a moment, that she gets her period. She menstruates every month. This is a person with male genitalia, no female reproductive organs, that insists that because of the hormones that he has taken over the course of the years, that monthly Ashley gets her period. This should prevent somebody from doing anything, walking around in public. This person should be locked up in a mental hospital. And here's one of the statements that Ashley made. When I'm having my monthly period pain, and it's not too bad, I feel something on the right side about where my appendix is located and something above the bladder. But when the monthly pain is real bad, I'm feeling something in both my right and left side above my bladder. All right. When you don't have the proper exit, bodily exit that women have, it finds one of two other exits. Yeah. I'm sorry you have to hear this. I apologize profusely. But if I had to read it, you got to hear it. That's my job. Because when I get this monthly pain, that is where the blood comes out. I don't know how much further I could go. I don't think I want to go much further. But this person, Ashley, is suggesting that a man has a menstrual period once a month, and that the result of that comes out in a terrible, horrible place that could only a man would not have the. Whew, I don't even know how to. I'm getting so grossed out here. You know, women, it's a biological thing. Women have wombs. Every month when they are fertile, before menopause kicks in, a woman's body gets the uterus prepared for a baby. It prepares it with all the proper tissue and nutrients that would be needed if one of her eggs are fertilized, for that to anchor itself to the wall of the uterus and grow into a beautiful little baby. If that is not fertilized, none of that is necessary for that month, and the body expels it through the female genitalia. That's what that is. There's no way a guy can have that. And I'll tell you, if you are having a bleeding issue from a certain area as a guy, you best get yourself some medical attention pronto, because something is really, really wrong. You're not having a period. Oh, whew. Did I do okay? All right. Make sure I don't get the license revoked from the radio stations. Could you hit the continue button on the phones, please? I'd like to take a phone call from our wonderful audience, 800-848-9222. Let's go to Justin. Justin on the Isle of Long Island, New York. What's up, Justin?
Hey, Anthony. How's it going, buddy?
Good.
So I'm a huge fan of you for the last 20 years, and you know I listen to you every week. But I have to counter something that you've been talking about on Twitter.
Always welcome.
I know you're against this new Odyssey movie that has come out due to some of the casting choices. But I genuinely think you are missing out on a very well-made movie that I know you would like, because I know you like good movies. I just, listen, I think it's goofy. I'm not a fan of the casting either, but there's been so little good movies this year that this movie has great special effects, great sound, great music, and really good acting. So I really think if you see it in IMAX, you might like it. Yeah,
you know what? I probably will. I'm not that nuts where I'm like, I don't like the idea that Helen of Troy is a black woman, or that one of these mythical warriors is a transgender gentleman, a little minute, minuscule transgender woman man walking around. I get it. I probably would like the movie. I do like movies like that. My problem is, and it isn't even that they chose those people to cast. My problem is it will immediately remove you from the movie. I could be watching a movie. You want to be immersed in it. A good movie, you forget you're watching a movie. And you feel for the characters. You feel like you're in the movie. The second Helen of Troy pops up, you're out of the movie for a second or two, and it's a distraction. Why the hell would you do that to your own movie? You're watching, you're loving it, having a great time, and then you go, oh, right, that's the woman that was cast in the place of this, and boom, you're out. You're out of the movie. That's the only problem I have with the casting. Justin?
Well, yes, but, I think with this movie, even some of the other actors, I personally think took me out of it more than those characters, because someone like Zendaya is in every movie, and to me, she gives the same performance in everything that she does, the same facial features. So having a megastar like that, I think they could have actually cast somebody that is unknown in that role.
Right.
But I get what you're saying. But again, Anthony, I'm going to continue listening to you like I do every single week, because you're the man, dude. You're the absolute
Justin.
best at what you do.
I do appreciate that, my friend. Thanks for the phone call, and thanks for the support. We do appreciate it. What about the other guy? What's his name? The guy that's the Punisher, what's his name? Barenthal. Yeah. What about him? Does he play the stoic, mean, nasty guy, kind of emotionless? Boy, what a one-trick pony that guy is. I mean, every single thing he's in, he is the same exact character. Walking Dead, he was that guy. The Punisher, he's that guy. Fury, he's that guy. And then I've seen the trailer for Odyssey, and he seems to be that guy. Talk about overrated as far as acting goes. I like Matt Damon. I think Matt Damon's a legit actor, He does a good job. It wouldn't take me out of a movie because he's acting in it. I'm not that crazy. We know they're actors. But if you're all of a sudden seeing that little Elliot Page running around as a warrior, you're out. You just plucked right out of that movie.
Huh?
Yeah. So I don't know. It seems self-destructive. Christopher Nolan, you're putting so much money and time and effort into this movie. How do you make casting decisions that are going to do nothing but distract from the movie? They might be good in it. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. They might be good, but you're still putting in something that isn't making your movie better. Like, I'm going to cast this black woman as Helen of Troy to make the movie even better than it would have been if I cast someone else. It's not true. I'm going to cast this tiny little hobbit as a Greek warrior. And you're like, nah, that doesn't make it better. You're self-sabotaging a very expensive, sweeping epic of a movie. So when the audience is sitting there and one of those people pops on the screen, you go like, oh, that one. I wonder if there are any chuckles. I should have asked Justin. Are people laughing when Elliot Page first comes on the screen? Or when Helen of Troy, the most beautiful woman of the time and place, pops on the screen? Do people go like, oh, what? Huh? Launched 1,000 ships, huh? Are they using her face to christen all of those boats that they're launching? Because I don't see it. I don't see her as being this beautiful woman that was the cause of war between nations. Let's go to Ben in Bayside, Queens. What's up, Ben?
Hey, good evening, Miss Anthony. Hello, buddy. This Amy, whatever. He's just trying to try something new. He's trying to pull like a George Soros kind of thing. Obviously, he just started this not too long ago. If he walked into any gay BLT club, extra mayo, club in New York City, my best friend happens to be homosexual. He's not just homosexual. He's supposed to ask me, how homosexual is he? Anyways, he's a homosexual. I'm not homosexual. Anyways,
when you get a ride from him, do you say, "Will you drive me homo"? No,
not at all. No, he happens to be a really. Jesus, that was a good setup, and I blew it. Swing and a miss. Anyways, he's just trying something new, and if he went into any club in the city, is what I'm trying to say, he would be so frowned upon. I mean, like, he just threw on a dress, no makeup, no nothing. I mean, some of these trannies, especially Ethiopians, I mean, they're like a size 2. You got to like double take them, and really take a look. Again, I'm totally hetero. My best friend, Patrick, is the nicest guy in the world.
I got you. I have friends that are gay. I have friends that are married to transgender women. I know all that, but I'm not going to play this stupid game that this Ashley Webb is a woman. It's not.
That's all it is, a game. He's trying something. He's trying to hit a check mark with everybody. Yeah. Look at me, look at me, look at me. And that's all it is.
Yep.
And in Maine, it might work because they're not that bright up there.
Yeah, I never thought Maine was as crazy as it is. It really was a surprise to me over the course of the years to see how nuts that state is.
I worked in a bunch of depots up there, and they're not that bright. It's almost, they're really not that bright. Nugans, good night.
All right, thanks, man. Yeah, you can't get there from here. Yeah, it's a crazy state. I assume they were kind of, backwards country kind of a thing, but the liberal take on it, it's like Boston. Boston used to be pretty conservative, and they were really segregated along racial lines and class lines. You got your Irish Southie and your Italians in the North End, and most people didn't go into other areas unless there was a reason to. And now they got that mayor woman, Wu, her name, Wu, and they cannot be more horribly liberal. And Boston just isn't the Boston of old. I don't know. Well, also talking about the transgender thing, the Women's Tennis Association, the WTA, has implemented sex screening for all players to preserve the integrity of women's professional tennis and to maintain fair competition conditions for all players. And I guess tennis stars Martina Navratilova and Chrissy Everett were involved in having this done. They've been very outspoken in their advocacy of women in women's sports. And then, of course, the Supreme Court making that decision that a state has the right to determine if they want women to have to compete against men in their sports. And as we've seen over and over and over again, it is not fair. And their only excuse when you have people that are advocating for transgender women in women's sports, all they can say is, well, there's not even that many of them. That's their big thing. Not whether it's right or wrong, not whether the transgender women athletes have an edge over the women athletes. It's like, oh, come on. How many are there really? How many are there? I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing. I bet the girl that has been working her whole life in her sport and was hoping for a scholarship to go to college or a spot on the Olympic team, I bet they care about how many there are playing against them. When they get left out, would have made the cut to be to get a scholarship and go to a college or go to the Olympics. I bet they're not squabbling over, well, there's only that many. Yeah, one is too many if it takes your spot that you've worked your life for. And that's another thing. These women train. You see, when they become successful Olympic athletes, let's say, and the Olympics does the retrospective on their life, they have film or video, depending on how old they are, of them as toddlers practicing, doing the sport, their parents driving them all over the place to have them train and become the best at their sport. And then some guy a year or two ago decides, oh, I want to be a track star or I want to do this or whatever. And they can just pop in and already, just because of their physical the fact that they're men physically. They can kick ass. And now all that work, an entire life of work that these women put in, is just wiped out. But don't worry, there's only a few. That's their big excuse. How about no? How about if you're so good, you compete as a guy? Yeah, you compete as a man. How good were you on the track and field team in high school as a man? Most of these women, trans women, they were never in competition. They were terrible against the men. And then they go into the women's class of sports and they're killing them. It's ridiculous. And I'm glad the Supreme Court made that decision, and I'm glad the Women's Tennis Association decided that they won't be partaking in that nonsense either. All right, we will be right back. Stick around.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. Thank you so much for tuning in on this fine Sunday evening. We do appreciate it. I'm told by the crack staff up there in New York that the other Hunter Biden clip, we were talking about Hunter a little earlier in the program, and the fact that he's doing these interviews and he should be in hiding after what a piece of crap this guy's been. Your dad was one of the worst presidents we've ever had. You are a degenerate. I think he still is. And he's out there now doing interviews and trashing people like the Trumps. So we got a clip of Hunter Biden, talking about the Trump family, who there's definitely no love lost there. So let's hear from Hunter Biden.
I would tell him to go his self. That's what I would tell him. And please leave. I mean, like I can be civil and I can tell you, like, oh, well, listen, he's a president. I don't want him to be pissed off at me. It's the president of the United States. Well, obviously, wouldn't you want to have a constructive dad? This man has tried to torture me for 10 years. This that he says about my dad, his obsession with tormenting my dad, hanging a picture of an auto pen on the colonnade, demeaning him, and all the things that he said about him. And anyone would expect me to do anything outside of which I would never do is physical violence against that person? Well, what kind of man would I be if I didn't tell him to go himself? What kind of man would I be? And I ask that to all of you UFC fans. I'm a UFC fan too. You know, I've challenged Don Jr. to a cage match 3 times now. Never heard back from him. That's how I'm going to pay all my debt.
Oh, my God. Language, Mr. Biden. Language. Yeah. What he said about your dad. Oh, he said terrible things. The auto pen. Yeah, it's been proven. God knows who was in charge during your father's tenure as president of the United States, because it certainly wasn't him. The guy was just riddled with dementia of one form or another. And, he called it out. He said he didn't know what Joe Biden was doing. None of us knew what he was doing, what he was capable of. They lied. Hunter Biden lied. Your mother lied. All the Democrats lied. And now they're all like, well, yeah, we just didn't know. There wasn't a clue that Joe Biden had any issues. Not a clue. We were all talking about it. What was it, a coincidence? That before Joe Biden was even elected on the campaign trail, when they hit him in the basement during COVID, we were all going, this guy's bat crap crazy. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's in the throes of Alzheimer's or something. And then just coincidentally, that happened. The last year he was in office, the last 6 months, he actually did get some type of dementia and you people started to notice that something was amiss? Or what's more reasonable? How about you lied, you knew just like we did, it was very obvious, and you didn't say anything. And because Trump pointed it out and said this guy is absolutely not fit mentally to be president, and now that's a problem that you got to, throw the F word around and threaten violence. He was saying stuff about wanting to fight Don Jr. and Eric, and you're a degenerate. You're just a piece of garbage. No one has any respect for this guy. He's a joke. He's a joke. You apparently had a pretty respect-worthy brother in Beau Biden. We never saw what Beau Biden could have been made into by his dad and the corrupt system and whatnot. But, tragically he died. And what does Hunter do? He has sex with the guy's wife. Holy moly. Could that be the worst thing you could do? It's one of them, I think. Good way to pay tribute to your dead brother. F his wife. And then he has a kid with a stripper down in New Orleans or something. Arkansas? I'm not sure. It's all the same to me down there. That whole coast. It's filthy. And then she has a kid that's his. It's not even debated. And he could not abandon that kid faster. The whole crap family. They talk about family, Dr. Jill and Joe Biden and their family. Meanwhile, none of them have acknowledged that there is a daughter of Hunter Biden, a grandchild of Joe Biden and Dr. Jill Biden, and they've just taken this poor girl and thrown her away. I don't care if her mother was a stripper, whatever. And obviously her father's a piece of garbage, but a kid doesn't deserve that. A kid doesn't deserve to be cast aside because the drug-addled father was banging a stripper, and now you're just taking no responsibility in helping this kid out, and the entire Biden family has just abandoned that kid. Just garbage. The whole Biden family, trash. And Hunter fits right in on that bill, doesn't he? Back in a moment.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. And, Sunny Hostin, right? Everybody knows good old Sunny Hostin. One of the gals from The View. Ugh, that show. My God. How long's it been on? That like Barbara Walters many years ago? They've had a cast of characters over the course of the years since the old days. And, of course, Sunny Hostin, she's one of the women on the show now. She is a person of color, as she likes to refer to constantly. She talks about things like white privilege. She talks about how she actually said this. She had to take her son, physically, take him to the police station. She lives in beautiful Purchase, New York, in an amazing Tudor home, like a mansion, on a lot of property. This is just the idea that she felt she had to do this. Take him to the police station to show him to the cops and say, this is my son. He jogs, so he'll be jogging around the area. Don't, shoot him, I guess she was worried about, the police doing things. She wants to be a victim. She lives a very privileged life and lifestyle. But since she's a person of color, she needs to tell everybody that she will be a victim. She's a perpetual victim. and that there's dangers that are inherent with being a black person as far as police are concerned, and white supremacists and the privilege of the system and all that happy horse crap. So Sunny's son, Sunny, got into a bit of a jam. He was jogging, and he went on to one of the MTA property where the train tracks run through the property, and it's fenced off. There are no trespassing signs, and I guess he thought it was a good place to run. So he did that. The cops caught him, and that's about that. You're going to get a ticket. You're going to get an appearance ticket, and you have to go to court, pay a fine perhaps. It really doesn't seem like that big a deal. This doesn't seem like something you really need to take care of. Look, I've known some cops over the course of the years. I've had some run-ins as far as speeding tickets go and things like that. And back in the day, you could actually talk to one of your cop friends. They call up the cop that gave you the ticket, and the cop goes, "Oh, yeah, okay, I'll rip up that ticket." And then it just became everything's computerized. The second they start writing a ticket in the ticket book, they have to complete it and put it in. They're all numbered. It's all digital. So that became a thing of the past. And you got to eat it. And then you got to go to court and take care of business. So it's kind of the same thing that happened here to Sunny's son, Sunny Hostin. He's 24 years old, by the way. And he gets in trouble and calls his mommy. Is that what I'm being led to believe? He called his mommy to get him out of trouble because she's on The View? Who cares? Who cares? So here's Sunny Hostin on the phone, I guess, talking to the police, trying to get her little boy, her little 24-year-old man out of trouble over here.
Misdemeanor charge, we're dumbing it down to a violation, okay? I know you're upset. We just do it as a deterrence because, again, like I explained to you on the phone, besides being illegal, which is far from the subject, it's dangerous.
My mom's a lawyer, by the way.
That's okay. What's your name?
What's your name, sir?
I'm Brian.
Brian, is that your badge number, 2814?
Yes. So the reason we're stopping you, this is trespassing right here.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was open over there. I was just walking on a run here.
Where are you coming from? All the way over there?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I saw it just looked open for me, so I just walked in.
So this is considered trespassing. It's criminal trespass. The reason why it's such a big deal, people get hit by a train all the time. We want to prevent it, obviously. Okay?
Can you please...
you want me to hold it for you?
Yeah, my mom, the phone's at 2%, FYI. Here you go.
So this is considered trespassing. It's a big deal. We don't want people to get hit by a train, which is why we came running over, okay? Do you have any ID on you?
Yes.
Okay, where is it?
It's in my phone if you take off the case.
Tell them your mother is a federal prosecutor.
Yes.
Oh.
Hey, Mom, how are you? This is Officer Gomez. Your son's fine.
Officer Gomez,
how are you?
This is
Yes.
federal prosecutor.
Okay,
that's
fair
my
enough.
son.
Yeah.
He's a Harvard graduate.
Yeah.
He's not a criminal. He has no criminal record, no criminal history.
Mm-hmm. Yes. No, I understand that. The issue is, like I told your son, is this is considered criminal trespassing. So besides being illegal, it's actually very dangerous for him to be around the railroad tracks. You know, we get people that get hit all the time.
Okay, let's get my mom on the phone.
Of course, yeah.
Hey, Mom. Hey, so you said that. Can I grab my phone?
Absolutely, go ahead.
And if the phone dies, can we call her?
Absolutely.
Mommy.
Miss Hostin, it's Officer Gomez.
Hi, Officer Gomez. I'm about 4 minutes away.
Okay, that's fine. So I just wanted to...
She's driving to the scene of the crime.
Your son, what's called an appearance ticket. I'm sure you know what that is. I'll explain everything, where he has to report all that stuff, because it is criminal trespass where he was. It's normally... Hold on for 1 second, miss. It's normally a misdemeanor. Obviously,
I'm a former federal prosecutor.
Listen, there's nothing on his record. He's been very cooperative with us. But as of right now, we will have to issue him the appearance ticket.
Officer, is that really necessary? This is a kid that doesn't do anything. He's a Harvard graduate and a Yale researcher. He teaches geometry to
I understand that.
Why would you put something on his record like this?
No, it's not anything criminal. He just has to appear. I'm dumbing it down to a violation. That's all it is. So it's not a misdemeanor. It's just going back down. I'm writing him literally for the 140.05. It's a trespass violation. He would have to appear, which is an inconvenience. I understand that. But with all due respect, ma'am, I still have a job to do. And we have to deter people from being on the tracks. Because again, besides...
I understand, but what I'm asking of you is once a judge gets this, all he would have to do is pay a fine anyway. There is a path.
What happens if you didn't do it?
Wait a minute.
What happens if you're like, oh, I wanted to write this?
Well, we have cameras everywhere.
Yeah, they're trying to get him to not do his job.
Correct.
As a cop.
There was too many trains coming in and out of there to not.
I hate to say it. It's like my partner said. Our hands are tied. It is what it is. Listen, I really appreciate you being cool about this. Put you in handcuffs, and we do that for our safety and all stuff. Hi, miss. How are you?
He's in cuffs.
I'm Officer Gomez. No problem.
Well, I'm Sunny Hostin from The View.
So, like I explained to you, normally it's a misdemeanor charge. We're dumbing it down to a violation, okay? I know you're upset. We just do it as a deterrence because, again, like I explained to you on the phone, besides being illegal, which is...
Yeah, they just keep going. You could cut it here because they just go on and on. It's the same nonsense. Her trying to get her son out of trouble, using her privilege as a TV personality, trying to throw her I'm a former state prosecutor out there. All the things that privileged people do when they get jammed up to try to get out of that trouble is exactly what she's doing. Something she rails against constantly with the rest of those hens on The View. And as a matter of fact, we have Sunny Hostin here talking about that very thing, the law, and how everybody must obey that law and nobody should have any special treatment when it involves obeying the law and maybe paying some consequence when you break that law. So here's another clip of Sunny from the show The View.
I mean, you can't commit so many crimes and think that you are above the law, even if you are the president.
So it really is a celebration of the law.
It's a celebration of the law and how it applies to all of us.
How it applies to all of us, except my Sonny, my little Sonny, 24-year-old little child. Where he's concerned, I'll pull out all the stops. He's a Harvard graduate. He's doing work at Yale. And they bleeped a couple of words out. I think, this is insane. But I read the transcript of this exchange she had with the cops. And it looks like she was saying he teaches the F word for gay people. He teaches the plural F word for gay people and dykes. That it sounds like those were the words that were bleeped out. She's telling the cops, my son teaches those people. What? And then I'm trying to read all the comments that it's someone. Did someone pick up on the words she was using? Like, oh, he teaches gay men and women. But she used two unbelievably derogatory terms for gay men and women. Where was that? Unless I'm wrong, but then why would they bleep it out? There would have been no reason to bleep out what she said. I'll get to the bottom of that, believe me, because that should make people more outraged than her trying to get her son off the hook. You know, that's something a lot of parents do. And they'll be like, well, I said the law is for everybody, and but this is my son and a mother's love. And but if you're calling gay men and women the horrible F word for gay men and dykes for women, holy jeez, that seems like it's problematic. As she sits there at the table of The View. All right, your calls and plenty more to come in moments.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. And this is great because, again, how phony these Democrats are, and plenty of Republicans are phony too, but the Democrats just have a real penchant for being phonies, liars, hypocrites, and whatnot. This is something we see all the time, and I can never get enough of it. It's always so funny. AOC is out and about. She's giving speeches and talking. Anytime you get a few months away from an election, they all crawl out of the woodwork and start selling their wares and trying to promote their team. So she's out. She's out on the trail, and she was down south. She was down south, and it's always so fun to watch them take on the accent of the people they're talking with. And we've seen it in the past. They're in front of black people. They'll take on this black dialect, sort of ghetto. We've seen Jasmine Crockett do this all the time. That's right, honey. Like, what? I saw you speaking like, because she speaks very well. She wasn't raised in a ghetto, Jasmine Crockett. But when she's around her people, she got to, ghetto it up a little bit. So AOC puts on this accent, and it's so embarrassing. They do this all the time. So here's AOC. Let's listen.
We cannot afford to leave Tennessee behind. We cannot afford to leave Kentucky behind, Alabama behind, Mississippi behind, Georgia behind, South Carolina behind.
How about your behind? How about that AOC behind? Yeah. That's embarrassing. That is really, really embarrassing. I guess they get caught up in the moment. I don't know. It's reminiscent, of course, of Hillary Clinton, one of my favorites as far as this stuff goes. I ain't no ways tired. Remember that? She got out in front of a black church and started, you'd think she was a black woman from the 50s. I ain't no ways tired. We've come too far. I'm getting embarrassment chills just remembering it. So that was AOC. Oh yeah. Grab the Hillary one. Let's listen to Hillary doing that. It's so fun.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
Oh, God. He come too far. I ain't always tired. Oh, phonies. Fantastic. They just do these things.
I don't feel no ways tired.
No ways tired. Oh, my God. Give it a rest with her. There's a couple of celebrities, and, of course, Don Lemon, they just do the same. They use the same language, and I believe it incites violence against Republicans, MAGA, conservatives, whatever you want to call it. It's using Hitler, They're worse than Hitler. They're Nazis. This is rhetoric that promotes violence. We see these Antifa morons calling people Nazis. Then they start throwing things and swinging bats. And it's because the media and Hollywood and Washington have labeled people that don't agree with them as Nazis. And Richard Gere, the actor Richard Gere, what's he known for? What movies? And yeah, there's that one. Oh, right. The Gerbil. taking a gerbil and putting it, I don't believe that's true. But isn't it something that is really what he's been known for so many years, after so many good movies? It's like, oh, yeah, he's the gerbil guy. And how the hell did that happen when there was no internet? How do you spread a rumor like that goes worldwide before we have the ability to just type it in and hit send? But it did. It took off. No one asks him about it on interviews. I would ask him in a second. Look, Richard, I got to ask you. And he'd be thinking, oh, it's probably about my involvement with the Tibetan monks. No. It's the gerbil thing. You think he'd just get up and walk away? He'd walk away, but you could tell by how he's walking that it is true. Richard Gere is, again, using Hitler when describing what language Donald Trump and MAGA and people use when they're speaking. So here's Gerbilmeister General Richard Gere.
Because you don't have to demonize people in their suffering. Trump uses the same words that Hitler did, calls them vermin. They're not vermin. These are human beings, you know. I've met them. He's never met a refugee or a migrant. In his whole life, he's never met someone like that. These are human beings like us who are usually running from a fire of one kind or another. They have mothers and fathers. They have kids. They have brothers and sisters. They suffer the same mental issues or physical issues that you and I and Trump and anybody else does. We're all in the human family.
Wow. Isn't he special? Trump isn't calling immigrants vermin. It's illegals that perpetrate horrible crimes. He's called them vermin, and that's the least you could call them. These are people that commit horrific acts of violence against other people. They are vermin. But once again, just like all the rest of them, they lie. They take something someone said and twist it and turn it and attribute it to something that it was never attributed to in the first place, like, fine people on both sides. He called Nazis very fine people. No, that absolutely didn't happen. But that's what he asked Russia to help him win the election against Hillary. No, that isn't what happened. But they twist it for their own agendas. And Richard Gere, of course, a flaming liberal, using the Hitler. That's a pretty big step when you're trying to say that somebody is acting like a bad person, that he's using the same language as Hitler. Yeah, did Hitler use vermin? Oh, right. Goebbels used vermin when referring to Jews and this and that. Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. There are people in this country that are here illegally committing horrible crimes, and I would call them vermin in a second. I would call them a lot worse than vermin. But Richard Gere thinks they're all human. They have mothers and fathers. Remember when Nancy Pelosi said that Trump called somebody inhuman or a monster or whatever it was? And Pelosi's like, that's terrible. You shouldn't say that about these people. They all have the spark of God in them. And how about the spark of the electric chair in them? He's not talking about fine people that are struggling to raise their families and had come here to get away from war and persecution. But again, that's how they twist it around. That's what they want you to believe, that he's villainizing the most wonderful people that have been chased from the four corners of the earth and found some semblance of peace in the United States of America. And Trump called them vermin. And now he's trying to kick them right back to the horrible death trap that awaits them from where they came from. Not true. Not true at all. everyone he's called vermin or horrible people, monsters, they all have earned those names by being monsters, murdering people. It's going on as we speak, and I couldn't be happier that we're heaving their asses out of this country, right? Richard Gere could heave his ass toward a gerbil, but you don't want Trump hurting anyone's feelings. Back in a minute.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show. Let's go to Nate in the Bronx. Nate, what's up, man?
Hey, Anthony. So pretty much I wanted to talk about immigration.
Yeah.
And before I get to my comment, I want to point out that the best way to get out of a problem is to understand how you got in that problem to begin with, to make sure you don't repeat it.
Sure.
Okay. So that being said, in order to understand the genesis of the current immigration mess, at least through legislation, I recommend, again, I've done it before, The Culture Critique by Dr. Kevin McDonald.
Yeah.
It talks about the 1965 Immigration Act. That is the act that opened the borders to the third world.
Right.
And
yeah, we had pretty much
European,
white European immigration before that. And after that, yeah, the four corners of the third world were opened up, and we opened their doors to them, and it has not been good for the United States.
Right. And the insidious thing about the 1965 Act is that when it was advertised, it was not advertised as a law that would overturn the ethnic balance in the country. No, far from that. Because if Lyndon Johnson and Hart's son, Emmanuel Seller, the guy who sponsored the bill in the Congress, if they had told the American people the truth, there would have been a revolution in this country, and they'd all be hanging from lampposts in Washington, D.C. So they didn't tell them the truth. They told them that, again, it would only be a small percentage of the population that would be admitted as refugees. Of course, fast forward 60 years later, white Americans, make no mistake about it, even if immigration were halted tomorrow, are going to become a minority in this country. And that is entirely due to our open borders immigration policy over the last 60 years. Now, make no mistake, this is a law that was aimed at white Americans, against white Americans, I should say. Mm-hmm. And like so much left-wing propaganda, like so much left-wing policy, it is a policy of nothing short of genocide against people of European descent. And what's really tragic is that not only are leftists doing that in this country, they're doing it in every white country on earth, and only white countries on earth. China isn't inviting the third world into its borders. They don't get castigated as racists. Japan isn't inviting the third world into its borders. Yeah. They don't get denounced as being nativist or xenophobes. It's only whites and Europeans that are designated as racist. Because if you go to a college course, full disclosure, I'm an adult college student. I'm pursuing a degree. And all the undergrad classes that are in the humanities, number one, you don't need them to graduate. And number two, they're all indoctrination sessions about how evil and racist white people are.
Yeah, we've seen that.
It's a civilization.
Because, Nate, we've seen it because they have to convince the very people they're trying to get rid of that they're not trying to get rid of them. If you bitch about it and you say, hey, I don't like the idea, and it has names, the Great Replacement Theory and all these other conspiratorial names for it, but they need people to believe that so that if you mention it, they could turn around and say, oh, you're talking out your, rear end and this isn't happening. It's a conspiracy theory. And then when someone like Jimmy Fallon gets up and goes, hey, by the way, in a couple of years, white people will be the minority in this country. And the audience cheers and applauds and, oh, it's fantastic. How are you applauding that? How do you think that's a good thing for not only the country, but for you dummy. These are white people that sit in the audience of Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel, let's be real, and they're clapping at their own demise.
Sure.
Yeah, it's insane, Nate.
If you want to know exactly what's going to happen to white Americans when they're a minority in their own country, just take one look at what's going on in South Africa today with the farm murders of the Afrikaners and the street crime and the fact that white women are raped and infected with AIDS by gangsters in the streets of Johannesburg and other big cities in South Africa. That's your future.
Where's
your
Bono,
future,
by the
America,
way?
if you don't do something.
Where's Bono and all those? Remember those bands that played "We're Not Going to Play Sun City" years ago in the 80s? Stars Against Apartheid, and they would play songs and they'd bitch and complain, apartheid this, and we're not playing South African theaters anymore. And then apartheid goes away. South Africa turns into one of the biggest garbage crap holes in the world. Does Bono go down there and play now that there's no apartheid? All the other bands that were involved in the making of the anti-apartheid videos and songs, do they go down there? Are they still being booked down in South Africa to play some of the venues down there? No. They got their point across. It destroyed a country, and they just go to the next thing. Thanks, Nate. Appreciate your call, man. Well, you know something? Maybe President Don Lemon can help. Oh, yeah. Don Lemon, he's mulling it over because what this country needs right now is a gay black man president. Oh, yeah. I could see the entire country rallying behind that. But first, before we play any of his presidential aspirations, let's listen to Don Lemon again. Just like Richard Gere, they have something in common. Something tells me it might not be a gerbil with Don Lemon, but you get my drift. He says that MAGA are a lot like anyone? Yes, that's right, Nazis. Of course. What else could they possibly be like? They're Nazis. Let's listen to Don.
You think that once Donald Trump is gone, it's the end of MAGA? I don't know if it's the end of that sort of attitude. I mean, the MAGA is the closest thing to the modern version of a Nazi party. This is America's version. It's the closest thing without the Holocaust and all that stuff. That sort of mindset. That's what MAGA is, because most intelligent people or logical people, when they get new information, and if that information is negative or not factual, then they change their minds. They go, oh, well, I wish I had known better, and now that I have this information, then I can readjust. No matter no matter how many facts and how much information you give them about this presidency, about the policies, they don't change their minds because they're really not voting for the price of eggs. They're voting for white supremacy. They're voting for power. They're voting to have a preeminent voice. They're afraid they've been co-opted by many people in the Republican Party and Donald Trump to think that their failures are due to something else, the other, the black person, the woman, the Latino, the immigrant, the migrant. That person is taking your job. That person is the reason that you don't have the financial or career success that you think that you should have. It's because of them. We want to take our country back.
DEI programs.
That's what MAGA is.
Nazis. Really? MAGA is the closest thing to the Nazi party here in the United States. Really? Worst Nazis ever, if that's the case. And you want to talk about tyranny and Nazis or people that are intolerant. You're talking about the left and groups like Antifa, anti-fascists. Really? They act exactly like fascists. I look online all the time, social media, and I see videos of people with microphones and cameras that go to these left-wing protests and meetups and they will not allow them to come into their gathering and ask questions of these people. No, get out of here. You're not welcome. Get the F out of here. And they're yelling and screaming, calling them Nazis. Wouldn't you want your viewpoint, your politics, what you stand for? Wouldn't you want people to know that, especially your opponents? Isn't that what lively debate is about? If someone with a microphone comes up to me and I'm very passionate about an agenda that I support and I'm educated and knowledgeable about it, I would be chomping at the bit or champing at the bit to let people know, hey, I'll talk to you. Let me talk. Here's how I feel about this issue. They don't want to talk to anybody. And if they do open their mouths, they're imbeciles. They're complete idiots. It's all about emotion and violence and threats. Get out of here. And they have their burly friends that push the people with the cameras and microphones and tell them to leave. And these are public places. That's another thing that's great. We don't want you here. Get out. And the guy goes, yeah, it's a public place. I'm allowed to be here. I'm just asking questions. Yeah, well, you're not allowed. We don't want you here. And you don't have our permission to video. They don't know some of the simplest of rights that Americans have in this country. They certainly don't want to allow you to exercise your God-given rights. That's for sure. And those are the people calling you a Nazi. Those are the people saying you're a fascist. Again, worst Nazis ever, worst fascists ever. If you see a group of right-wing people, a good example are anti-abortion activists. I personally, as far as abortion goes, I'm very wishy-washy one way or the other. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, fine, I don't care. Other times it's like, look, there's no denying that is a life that you're taking. But I don't even want to get into the actual abortion argument. I'm just talking about people that are abortion activists, anti-abortion activists. And they will stand there with signs. They'll be harassed to no end by Antifa and liberals and women who apparently love abortions. And they are really educated about abortion, what it is. They're also, they have a spiritual angle toward it, their religion, of course, if you're a Christian, and they're knowledgeable about that. Obviously, people have their own take, which is fine, but they are met with violence so many times. And they are wide open to be able to talk, to want to speak with people that don't agree with them. They don't chase people away. Yeah, I'm anti-abortion. Get out of here. They want to talk. They want to inform people about their take on it and their stance. But the left, man, do they just not want to allow people to hear opposing viewpoints. And their people are so brainwashed. When you're brainwashed, you don't have to know why you support a cause. You just support it blindly. And that's what they do. They are incapable of conveying why they are there. Why are you here today? What are you protesting? What are you in support of? What are you against? Get out of here. You're not welcome. It just dopes. So Don Lemon calling MAGA Nazis. It's so typical. It's a hacky response at this point. It comes off as like, oh, really? Is that where you're going to go? Oh, interesting. But Don Lemon has other things in mind besides just calling Trump supporters and MAGA and conservatives Nazis. He wants to be the president of the United States. And I don't know. Some people get excited. They have delusions of grandeur. and I think Don Lemon is falling into this category. He says he wants to run for president because so many people have said to him, you should run for president. Really? How many people do you think have gone up to Don Lemon and said you should run for president? A dozen? Let's just say I'm going to go crazy and say it was a dozen people. Yeah. What does that mean? Do you honestly think at some point in the future you're going to see CNN go, well, we've just called it. The next president of the United States is Don Lemon. I mean, I know we saw that happen with Trump, and that was a surprise, but he had an agenda. Trump had this, people were ready for a business guy. They wanted someone that wasn't a politician. And he fit the bill of what a lot of people in this country wanted as a president. Do you really think Don Lemon fits the bill of the majority of Americans? A dozen people, if that. There's probably 3. And they were probably all having a steam bath together, quite frankly. So here's Don Lemon saying that he is ready, maybe ready, to announce his candidacy for the presidency of the United States. Don?
You have political ambition? Is that true?
No, but people keep asking me if I'm running for president. And I don't know, I might. I'm serious. I don't know. I might, because people keep asking me to do it, or if I'm going to do it. And I look around, and I see the folks who are, possibly in the running, and some of them are impressive. Many of them, most of them are not. Oh. And it seems in this day and age you don't have to have a ton of political experience, because our current president had none, and that's very obvious. I think that he could have done a better job if he would actually listen to people, but he doesn't. He thinks he knows everything. But I actually think I would be a really good president of the United States.
Okay, like you're being serious.
No, I'm being totally serious.
So what would it take?
For the people to want me, what it would take is, if I ran a political campaign, a presidential campaign, I would like to run it, and I don't know if this is realistic or not, without having to beg for money. I would like it to be a voter, citizen-driven campaign for as much as it can be. Maybe at some point I might have to take a donation. I would rather not do that, but I would rather the people of the United States to say, that's the guy that we want. I'm going to give him $5 or $10 or something that doesn't break the bank, because I know that the economy's tough. The current president is not doing a great job for the working class people, for the American economy. He's doing a fantastic job for his rich friends and for people who happen to have 401ks and investments. He's doing a great job for those folks. I'd say us folks. I'm included in that. I'm the beneficiary of his tax policies, but I don't think it's fair for the working class people and for the average American.
Give some of your money away, Don.
Let me dig into this for a second, though. Have you looked at the logistics of doing this? Have you looked at potentially putting a team together, an exploratory team? Like, how far into
entertaining this guy?
I've stuck my toe into it, if you want to put it that way, or I've dabbled.
Stuck his toe into it?
People who have been in politics before. What would it take? When would I have to get in to do it? And I'd have to be really serious about it. And then they tell me, you can't tell these types of stories during dinner parties if you want to be president of the United States. But yeah, I'm saying, because I like to have fun.
Yeah, we know what that means. Sticking his toe in it. Richard Gere sticks gerbil in it, but he sticks his toe in it. What are you entertaining this guy? Have you checked out the logistics and what it would take for Don Lemon to run for president? Get out of here. Just stop. I'd want the people, that's what it is. The people have to want it. Want a Don Lemon presidency. Yeah. You got thrown out of CNN. No one watches your podcast. How, if it's a popularity contest, Joe Rogan has a much better chance of being president than Don Lemon does. Oh, but the people want me. That's the only way I'd run. And I'd want to run with no money. Oh, really? Considering it takes about $1 billion to win the presidency. Yeah, I want to run with, no money. $5 here and there would be good. I'll put my toe in it. All right. Don't go anywhere. Back with more of the Anthony Cumia Show in moments.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. And, we're just talking about stupid Don Lemon. President Don Lemon. That's all we need. Trump is very upset with Canada. I guess the fires in Canada, I don't remember this being a yearly occurrence or even a couple of years. You know, when I was living up in New York, last time, I think it was probably, 2022, around there, and we had these Canadian fires, and you'd leave the house, the sky was red, orange, reddish. You could smell smoke, like there was a fire a block away. That's strong. And it's something, you think, how the hell is that possible? I understand upper atmospheric conditions can bring debris and whatnot, great distances. And that's what happens. It gets up in that jet stream area, wherever, weather frontal systems, and pushes it into New York. And Trump is now going to raise tariffs again on Canada because they don't know how to deal with their forests. We heard Trump say this out in California, too. He gave Gavin Newsom some guff during the fires that they had in California for not allocating money and resources to cutting back the dried brush in a lot of these areas of Southern California that get so dry. And when they catch on fire, there's no stopping it, especially you get the Santa Ana winds involved. And so now he's mad at Canada for that. And when I heard him talking about it, or I read one of his social media posts, I was like, what is that going to do, really? Is Canada at any point going to go, uh-oh, Trump's mad at us? I think we better get the rakes and shovels out and make sure this doesn't happen again. Do you think it's just a natural occurrence, something that we have to deal with? I'm certain some people think it's climate change. Anything that happens naturally, whether it's a fire, perhaps lightning caused it, these things would happen throughout history. But before there was a population, no one really knew about it. But now, of course, we know. So is it this climate change? Has the environment changed in a way where forest fires are a lot more common now than they used to be? I don't think so. I don't really think anything can be attributed to climate change. I'm one of those guys. They hate me, the left, because I am a climate change denier. I just can't imagine that we have the capability of really, really damaging the environment enough where the earth can't heal itself. We've done some damage. I'd say that. I just don't think it's as important as people say. And I don't think it's the United States' responsibility to be the world police as far as paying the bill for things like climate change. You got countries like India and some parts of China, other third world nations that are trying to drag themselves into the industrial age that are just that. Their technology and the way they do things are like the United States had in the early 1900s. And they're just billowing smoke into the atmosphere. But then, again, guilt-ridden, stupid America has to say, well, we need to pay for these climate change summits and retrofitting our factories and this, that, and the other. We have done more to combat pollution in our country by using technology invented here to make sure that our factories are cleaner, emissions on cars are cleaner. And then you got these countries like India that don't give a crap. Well, they give a crap, plenty of it. It's filling their rivers and any body of water. Just disgusting. But why should should we be the ones that have to keep saying, well, I guess it's our responsibility. We got to get in there and make sure we shovel over a bunch of money to some climate, the Paris Accord and all that nonsense. I am not in that camp. That's for sure. So you want to bitch about the fires in Canada or the ones in California or erosion, hurricanes, tornadoes. I saw some dummy blaming earthquakes on climate change. That I'd like to say. It's the HARP system. That's what they use it for. They turn it on and the earthquakes start. It's all about climate change and mind control. Yeah, I swear. That's what I've learned from Jesse the Mind Ventura. They get a little carried away with the climate change thing. Again, we probably changed a few things. But when I look at Plymouth Rock, a picture of Plymouth Rock from 100 years ago and one from yesterday, that water level is exactly the same. So I don't know where this flooding is coming from and melting of the ice caps and all the other catastrophes that Al Gore and company has told us is happening and how we have 5 years left before everything's underwater. It's a bunch of crap. But raise the tariffs. I don't care. I'm not friends with Canada anyway. All right. We will be back in moments. Stick around for more of the Anthony Cumia Show.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show. And can't do a show without talking about Zoran Mamdani and some of his great ideas and things he's doing and things he's done. And the World Cup, big thing for New York and for the country. It was kind of cool to watch people come here and love America. A lot of foreigners, a lot of people from Europe coming over and Australia and just loving the hell out of this country. It gives you a little perspective. You start thinking, hey, maybe I'm being a little harsh. Maybe I'm black-pilled a little too much. And I'm just all about doom and gloom. Maybe it's better than I think. Maybe I'm in a bubble. Maybe. And these people are having a great time. They go to Buc-ee's, a truck stop, and they're loving life. They go to a gun store, forget about it. I saw some guy, he must have been from Japan, and they put an AR-15 in this guy's hand. Oh, was he loving it. People love shooting guns, especially when you're not allowed to. If you're from a place that they don't have a Second Amendment like we have here, the enjoyment on their face when they're rattling off a few rounds, at first shot especially, they always they take the shot and then they'll turn to the camera and go like, whoa, just start laughing. It's an amazing, fun experience. It was kind of nice to see people that aren't jaded and don't have some of the amazing things that we have in this country. Good to see them enjoying themselves and giving us a little perspective about how lucky we are to live here for the time being. Believe me, it doesn't take me long to get right back into the whole, oh, my God, we're doomed phase of things. But Zoran Mamdani was enjoying the World Cup and watching it with some fellow soccer enthusiasts at Rikers Island. Yes, that's right. Zoran thought it would be a great idea to spend the day watching the World Cup, not with the guards or the corrections officers with the convicts. You know, the murderers and rapists, because that's who you want to sit down with and talk about the game with. This is so typical of a commie like Zoran Mamdani. He'll see the prisoners as the victims of the oppressive system. And then it's like, no, I'm the guy. I'm the voice for these poor people that have been locked up many of which I'm sure he thinks they've been locked up illegally, or there's some grave injustice that took place. So he decided to sit down with the prisoners at Rikers and watch the World Cup. What a guy. Let's hear his take on that, shall we?
I hope that this shares with people who are incarcerated here on Rikers that they too are a part of New York City. The World Cup has been a magical moment for the entire city. These are New Yorkers, and they will be New Yorkers when they get out of Rikers. They're New Yorkers today, and I wanted to make sure that we can celebrate this moment together.
Celebrate this moment together. Wants to make sure they could celebrate this moment together because they're New Yorkers, and they'll be New Yorkers when they get out. Is that a good thing to say? Is that a selling point for New York? Hey, don't worry, people. The convicts, the murderers, rapists, the people that rob and assault and burgle, the carjackers, the arsonists, they'll all still be here when they get out. Don't worry. We're going to pack the streets with some hardcore criminals. And that's really what it is, because Rikers isn't full of people that are there for smoking a joint on the sidewalk. People could commit some pretty ridiculously bad crimes and be out a couple of hours later. We've seen this happen. You really have to be a problem for them to toss you in Rikers at this point. So it's not, oh, well, I'm not sitting with hardened criminals here. This guy forgot to pay his Easy Pass bill, and he's here at Rikers. That isn't happening. These are some real criminals. As a matter of fact, the one guy that was featured in the story that Zoran was buddying up to at the seat to watch the game was accused. He hadn't been convicted yet. I believe he's awaiting trial on abusing children. Abusing children. And there's Zoran. Hey, let's watch the game, shall we? Let's watch the game. Was the guy, he was waiting for the part at the beginning of the game where the soccer players walk out with the little kids. Hey, when's that happen? Is that the beginning of the game, Zoran? I love that part where they bring the little kids out. Zoran's like, great, you'll be in New York when you get out, right? We could expect you to stay? All those pesky billionaires, I'm glad they're leaving for greener pastures, but you prisoners, you convicts, we sure want you to stick around in our fair city. Oh, this guy is just a problem. Zoran Mamdani. He's got something else going on, which is fascinating. Babysitting. Oh, yeah. Mamdani offers free babysitting for parents who want to have like a night out. I think this is so far, I think it's kind of a one night thing that he's doing. The 16th of August, I think it was. Looking for the story here. Babysitting. There it is. This is so crazy. He wants to let people, get him out of the house. So I guess it's first come, first serve. You make arrangements. There's a website or a phone call or something, and you make arrangements and tell Mamdani, the city, his staff. I don't know who you're telling. Hey, I need a babysitter. Me and the little woman want to go out, and we have a couple of kids. They're 6 and 7 years old, and we want to just deposit them with city workers. Can we just drop them off at what amounts to a homeless shelter for kids while we go out on the town and celebrate? Would you trust your child with the city of New York? I know you have to trust them in schools. I get that part. And that's bad enough. But you assume that the teachers and staff at a school have some type of training to deal with kids. There's got to be a certain amount of responsibility for taking on that many children for that many hours a day. What type of training? Who are the people that are going to be watching your kids under a Zoran Mamdani babysitting program? You really got to be a crappy parent if you're going to leave your kids with the city of New York so you could grab a few beverages and dance the night away with your wife. That is a scary, scary prospect. But who am I to say? Who am I to say? Maybe it's me. I don't have kids. So maybe if I was a parent, I'd be like, oh, that doesn't sound fishy at all. Of course you could take my young child and do what you please. Because New York has proven itself to be great and responsible, wonderful people. All right, let's talk to Steve in Toronto, Canada. Put your fires out, Steve. You're ruining it down here.
Hey, Anthony. Before I get into my main point, I just want to congratulate you on your continued success and any future weekday projects. Wink, wink.
Oh, I don't know. We're loving life here on Sunday evening. But, we never know what the future holds, especially in the business we call show. Thank you. What's up, Steve?
Well, I'm watching Sunday night baseball, the Dodgers versus your Yankees, and it goes to a commercial for Progressive Insurance. Mm-hmm. Now, you've shown these television ads before of a man breaking into a house all dressed in black, and he is clearly a certain race. Now, this one features the lovely Flo, the chubby, aesthetically challenged spokeswoman for
yes, for many years,
sitting in her chair reading a book, while this guy dressed in black is stuffing all her stuff into a sack. Now, here's the kicker, Ant. He's not wearing a mask.
No?
No, he's not wearing a mask. And this is followed by Farmers Home Insurance Company with a very good-looking black gentleman, well-dressed, sitting behind the desk, selling us home insurance.
Now, the guy not wearing the mask but burgling Flo's house, what persuasion was he?
Well, I think it's commonly known as Caucasian.
Yeah. It's such an obvious agenda when they do that. I guess they don't want people to say, oh, really? You're stereotyping. But they always put a white guy as the bad guy. And then the cops come in and they're black dudes or an Asian woman and a black guy. And then, the responsible person at the desk saying, hey, there's you got to get insurance. That'll be the black guy or a Spanish gentleman. White men, straight white men, let's say, they can cast them as the worst people on earth. And they know this, so they do it. It's a form of indoctrination and brainwashing because statistically, I don't think there's a lot of white dudes burgling people's houses. But, it's part of the greater overall agenda, Steve.
Yeah, it certainly is. I don't know about you, but I, for one, am just absolutely ashamed of myself for being Caucasian.
Yeah, we should be. We're amongst the worst people ever if you watch movies and commercials and listen to Washington and celebrities. But thanks, Steve. Appreciate that. I have noticed. All right, don't go anywhere. Back in a flash.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. And during last week on my podcast and on last week's show right here, I was talking about the Trump family and just a bad look with some things that they are involved in. Some of this financial business dealings and wranglings and things. And, of course, everyone knows I'm a supporter of Trump. There is no way in hell anything would have changed my mind voting for Donald Trump and not Kamala Harris. There is nothing that could have transpired that would have made me vote for that woman. And I support Trump. And I think overall, over the first term and the couple of years in this term almost, I think he's doing a good job. Good, not great. There are certain things I'm not happy about at all. I brought up the Iran thing, and I said I just do not know what we're doing. I don't know what this war is all about. If it's about the nuke thing, we don't want Iran to have a nuke. That makes sense. A rogue nation, if you could prevent them from getting their hands on atomic weapons, that sounds noble. That sounds like a cause that you could get behind, considering their sponsorship of terrorism over the course of decades now. Them having an A-bomb would be an issue. All right, we supposedly bombed all of their nuke sites, a lot of the bunker busters in the mountains, and there were intelligence reports that we pretty much put the kibosh on their nuclear program. Refining uranium to make it weapons grade is not going on. It leaves a pretty sizable footprint for our intelligence technology to pick up. It would be very difficult for a country to start refining uranium into weapons grade uranium without us figuring it out. So if that's taken care of, what are we doing? Trying to keep the Straits of Hormuz open. All right, once again, America's got to be world police. This seems like it should be a concerted effort of all the people in the region. And then if we're keeping the Straits of Hormuz open, why are we bombing Tehran? I don't understand this. We're not getting answers, really. I would like more answers. I would like to know absolutely why we are there, what we're doing, and what the end game is. Because it's on again, off again. Let's be real. How many times have we heard a treaty where a ceasefire, it's written down, and then the next day, these are the worst people in the world. We have to blow them off the face of the earth. And it gives mixed signals. It gives it confuses people. They have no real faith in what's going on to get behind it and go, okay, here's our goal. He's pushing toward it. So I don't know. I don't like that. The other thing that I'm not very happy with is how it looks in some of their business dealings. Now, I understand Donald Trump has this Trump empire, and it's been a part of the world, especially if you live in New York. You knew about Trump so long ago, even before The Apprentice, things like that. So you knew about Trump, business guy, developer, and you knew that this guy had business dealings, and when he became the president, that he would have to push those business dealings off and not have a personal hand in them. His kids, Don Jr. and Eric, can run his various businesses, and they're allowed to make money. I don't know where this illusion comes from that they shouldn't be able to make money while he is the president. This is a business. He has businesses. They need to continue and move forward. You can't just halt a business and then 4 years later blow the dust off the door, open it up and go, well, we're open again. Businesses need to continue moving forward. So I don't fault anybody for doing business. When I see, though, I see some of these dealings, Trump Jr. and Eric involved in Department of Defense contract work. They're part of these entities, these businesses that are doing work with the government, getting grants, getting contracts. and they sit on the board or are somehow involved with these companies, that does not look good. I don't care if it's legal. I don't care if you're technically allowed to do it. It's a terrible look because they're making a hell of a lot of money, apparently. And I don't like having to say this stuff. Like I said, I support Trump. When I first heard this, it was out of stupid Hunter Biden's mouth. And I heard it and said, no way. I am going to do a little research here and find out how big a lie this is. And then I start looking into it, and I'm like, holy moly. They are doing exactly what dumb Hunter Biden said they're doing. They're capitalizing, making money as members of these entities that are getting government contracts. It's a grave conflict of interest. At the least, it could be more than that. Look, again, I don't fault anyone for doing business, making a buck. It's our right as Americans. But you can't look at a situation like that and go, oh, no, that's fine. This is a good look. This is great. They're making a hell of a lot of money, and Trump is the president, and this is his sons, and they're getting government contracts on things like drones, drone companies, military contracts. So I don't like that at all. The other thing that we see recently, another horrible look, Trump or the Trump organization. When I say Trump, I mean his kids, his businesses. I don't think his hands are directly on it, but he sure as hell knows about it. And I don't know how involved he is with this thing, but this seems insane. Trump Media is going to sell faster access to Truth Social posts. Truth Social is like X, like a lot of these social media platforms where you can ramble on about things and whatnot. And Donald Trump is the number one person on Truth Social. He owns it. And he has more followers than anyone else. Now, this prospect of selling instant access before everyone else can get it, of posts from prominent people that are posting on Truth Social for a price, is insane. This really resembles insider trading. It really looks like insider trading. You're allowing people faster access for money, faster access to the president's take, views, policies on things that affect the market. And you will then have an upper hand in making trades on stocks that are going to be affected by Trump's policy or a speech or dropping a name of a company, whatever it might be. Now, look, I don't care how big a supporter of Donald Trump you are. That looks terrible. That is not something you look at and go, oh, wow, yeah, let's do that. No, I don't see any problem with it. I am really surprised that this at least went through to the point where they're talking about it. I don't know if it comes to fruition, but it shouldn't even. This should have been something someone said as a joke in the back room. Hey, why don't we sell these access to these posts? So not a good look for the Trump family. Back in a minute.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. And, I said earlier, I'm not a big fan of basketball. I just don't find it exciting. But, boy, this WNBA, isn't that exciting? I don't mean with basketball. Not at all. I mean with the shenanigans on and off the court going on in the WNBA, women's basketball. They're just terrible. Who's that? What's that girl named Reese? You know that one back at Mission Control? This is how much I don't know about it. She got eyes like a flounder. Angel Reese, yes, eyes like a flounder. Angel Reese, yeah, apparently one of the coaches for an opposing team felt that they didn't call Angel Reese for a foul. And then she said on mic, they were mic'd up or a microphone was pointing in her general direction. She said Angel Reese is a protected species because the refs, the officials on the court protect her when she fouls people. She seems to be constantly hitting people. She hits more people than baskets. That's what I know for sure. She's really terrible. She goes in for these crazy layups and just misses. There's a couple of girls that are pretty good, I guess, but she's not one of them. But she's outspoken. She's a loudmouth, and she seems to get a lot of attention. But this coach said she is a protected species. Well, oh my goodness gracious, did everything pop off? They've suspended the coach for a game. The coach had to give one of these groveling, from the bottom of my heart apologies. And she's from Australia, the coach. So, there's a whole different vernacular. Things mean something else. I don't know. But the take that a sane person would have is, yeah, she's not a protected species. Don't bring race into it. Most of the girls out there are black girls. They're lesbians. If you say a protected species, well, then if you mean color-wise, if you mean race-wise, doesn't that mean every girl that's playing pretty much? But you're singling out Angel Reese because she gets preferential treatment as an individual, the way everybody says you should treat people. But how can you turn down the opportunity to play that card and be that victim? So Angel Reese gave a little speech. She accepted the apology and then goes on with the whole thing of, racial hatred and bigotry have no place in this sport or any other sport. You're like, any opportunity to try to throw race into it. And again, this poor woman having to grovel, having to be suspended. It's just ludicrous. It's one of those ridiculous things that you see and go, why are we still doing things like this? Why is this still a thing that people have to go, oh, see, we're still a horribly racist country. We're really not. We really aren't. People aren't just blatantly doing and saying racist things in many places. It happens. It happens as much as it happens with anything else. Any other bad, unpleasant, offensive things that happen in our country, it's just another one of those things. People use offensive terms. They're intolerant. You're going to get that. But to say it's this overall, all-encompassing issue that we have in this country is insane. It just isn't happening. So to see it happening again publicly with something like this in the WNBA, but again, it makes it exciting because the game certainly isn't exciting. That's for sure. How about Larry, Staten Island? Larry, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing, Ed?
Good, buddy.
Let me just start out with about Sunny Hostin. We just got off a major celebration of this nation's 250th birthday.
Yep.
Festivities all over the country. People were proud. And here comes Sunny Hostin, who has the gall to say she gets nervous when she goes through neighborhoods and sees numerous American flags.
Yep.
Because the flag reminds her of white supremacy.
Yeah.
I would challenge her to bring apart on that show, the View, whatever you call it, a group of a mosaic of men and women who fought for this country, sit them down and ask them how they feel about the American flag.
Yeah.
If it was a flag of white racism. And I have a little bit of concern for Whoopi. I would give her a little suggestion. Be very careful, Whoopi. Sunny here is looking to get that seat. She wants to take the reins off. So get yourself a food tester, a bodyguard, and watch yourself.
Is she bringing in some of that explosive diarrhea Taco Bell for Whoopi? Maybe get her out of the seat for a little while? I don't know, Larry. Thanks for the call, buddy. Yeah, Sunny Hostin, when she said she sees American flags in neighborhoods, she gets nervous. Can you imagine a safer place? Is there a safer community than one you can ride your bike, drive, or walk through, where you see nicely manicured lawns, clean walkways and streets, and American flags on the sides of the houses celebrating and showing people your pride in nation? They have turned the American flag into some horrible symbol of hate and racism and tyranny, oppression, and it's all par for the course. All par for the course. That's what they want. Any sense of nationalism is looked at as one of the worst things you can have in a country. Pride in your nation is a terrible thing because they know that they could say whatever they want, these interest groups and people that just hate history, real history. They could say what they want, but they know how, when, and why this country was built and the ideology it was built upon, and they don't like it. They don't like it. They want to make it seem like it was a diverse melting pot all over the country and everyone had a hand in building. It's not really the case. This country was built on settlers, refugees from England, of course, and settlers from other European nations that came here with unbelievable courage and gumption and went west and continued. Many of them didn't make it. It was a very hostile environment. And that's who built this country. And it is something to this day to be proud of. And if you're contributing to that lineage of people that built this country, if you're working, doing something good for the country, you pay your taxes, fair taxes, not the nonsense they want you to pay. But if you're doing everything you're supposed to do as a citizen of this country, you're part of that lineage, and you can be proud of this country. They don't want that. You have to be guilt-ridden. You have to hate our ancestors and hate yourself for your horrible racism and your horrible, you're on stolen land. We hear that one all the time. And there's plenty of people that fall right in line and they'll self-flagellate. They'll just beat themselves and hate themselves. You see it all the time. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. But, what are you supposed to do? You can't tell these people anything. They've been brainwashed. So we're in a couple of different camps in this country these days. I am firmly seated in the proud American camp. And I have hope that we can get back to some of the traditions and some of the ideology that made this country great, that enticed those settlers to come here and in the face of danger, move west and build this great nation of ours. Thank you. Thank you. And now it's off to what? We're going to go to Florida, to St. Louis, and we're going to go to Ohio, and we're going to, yeah. One of my favorite presidential F-ups ever. Some guys, boy, they tripped on their own shoelaces on the way to the White House, and that was one of my favorites. Yeah! Oof. It's like Dukakis. Remember him with a big, dumb tank helmet on? He looked like a bobblehead doll. Right then and there, it was like, well, you're done. Your presidential run is done. And then there was it Gary Hart? He was photographed on a boat called Monkey Business with a stripper on his lap. Goodbye. There goes your presidential run. It's been some fun ones over the course of the years. That's for sure. Let's go to William. Young William. Well, oh dear. What's up?
Anthony, great to hear from you, man. You're the greatest.
Thank you, sir.
Real quick, I wish there would be more USA rallies in stadiums, and Mr. Trump would make an appearance. I like that charge. And also, I hope, that you were talking about American flags. I love it when I see those 4x4 pickups that are out there, and they got a flag flying. I'm like, yes, we are living in this country. I go through neighborhoods, and they're like, and in parts of central Jersey, and you see all kinds of other flags. I'm like, no, you're in America, man.
Yeah.
And people fought and died, and freedom is not free. And everybody in the world wants to come here, and yet they still hate us. And every time I see the flag, I'm like, my uncle, was in WW2, and he was hit, out on a ship, and suffered from PTSD. My father was in the Navy. My brother was in the Army. I mean, I love my vets, man, and every time I see them, I have an enormous amount of respect for them.
Yeah, and people should, and it's. Like I said, a lot of the people that came here for the World Cup looked around and appreciated this country and loved seeing. I saw some woman, I think she was from the UK, and she's walking around saying, one of the things I really love about America is the amount of American flags you see everywhere. People are proud of their country. And just to think, people like Sunny Hostin, and she's not alone, that look at the American flag and see a symbol of hate, division, the Ku Klux Klan, white supremacy. It's agenda driven. I think it's done on purpose. They have a mission to try to degrade everything we hold dear in this country, and they're doing it. They're doing it, William. Thanks for the call, buddy. It's from Central Jersey. It is. It is they're doing it on purpose. They're doing it on purpose. This is an agenda from the liberal left wing to undermine everything we hold dear. Every tradition, family, traditional family, mom and dad and the kids living in a nice neighborhood where you might fly an American flag, backyard barbecues, like-minded people, a neighborhood that you can talk to your neighbors and they understand what you're saying, literally through a common language, but also an understanding of what it was like for them growing up, maybe even in that same neighborhood, riding bikes with their friends, going to a park, playing a ball game. Whatever it is, there's a common interest because they grew up with common values, ideology, environment. That's important. That's why you can't just have people that have been here a couple of years who then decide to run for office. Oh, that's interesting. Does that just happen? Or is it another agenda-driven thing financed by the likes of Soros and company? And then they get these seats, and the first thing they do in this wonderful new country that they escaped their oppression and tyranny and risked their lives to come here is sit down in a seat of power and try to change every damn thing that we hold dear. Every tradition that was handed down that is exclusively American. They want to destroy it. They want to set up little camps, little enclaves of their foreign countries, a little offshoot, satellite Somalia, or a little satellite South America, or what have you. and completely undermine everything that made America America over the course of its history. I don't think anybody that was not born here in this country should be allowed to hold a seat of power. I think it should be just like the presidency. You are not allowed to hold office if you are a citizen that you came here from another country, you immigrated here, you got your citizenship, whatever it may be. Sorry, you don't have the experience of being an American. Growing up as an American, how much did you learn from the time you can remember anything as a small child up until you were 18? There is so much in there that you learned about America, how we operate as a people, how we speak to each other, how we treat each other. It's an important part of your life and your American experience. So you just cut all that out, plop someone here and say, yeah, you run things for a while, even though you have no understanding as to what it's like to grow up as an American. You look back at some of those amazing times as a kid and realize how important that was. How do you have somebody sitting now making decisions on how other people should live their lives when they have no understanding of that very important time in people's lives? So no, they come here like that Indian guy. Oh my God, whatever his name is. And he gets up there and goes, yeah, guns. No, we want to try to curtail anyone's Second Amendment right. Who are you? Who are you to come here and get elected somehow? Again, I don't know how that's done. And then just try to change some of the most important rights that we have, to infringe on some of the most important rights we have as American citizens. No, sorry, not allowed. I don't know how that was ever a thing. And you probably look back and it probably made sense when they penciled it in. Like, we needed a lot of immigrants. They came here, but they assimilated. They had kids. The kids grew up. But I don't know how that was ever a thing. It should be changed. You know, they were trying to get the birthright citizenship thing changed. And then we had some turncoats in the Supreme Court. But that's something that really should be changed. If you were not born in this country, I don't want you as the dog catcher in East Alabama. You're done. Thank you. Back in a minute.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It is the Anthony Cumia Show, and we're going to wrap up the show here with Secretary of Defense Hegseth. This is great, and it's just really annoying a lot of the liberals, of course, and for lack of a better term, the fruits in this country. Remember, I used to have an uncle that would be like that. Oh, that guy's a fruit, like Archie Bunker. Oh, the fruits over there. Hi. Defense Secretary Peter Hegseth announced Wednesday the Pentagon will require service members over the age of 30 to be screened for testosterone deficiencies annually. That's right. If they're recommended for treatment, they may choose to receive testosterone replacement therapy. I'm authorizing a new screening program for testosterone deficiency for our service members to ensure you have the right testosterone levels to operate at your absolute best, Hegseth said, announced in the video on X titled High Tea Department. There you go. Just a bunch of jacked up steroid monsters in uniform with guns. I'm all for this. I'm all for roiding out the military, for 3-foot-high flyovers by some of our airmen, and a real powerful, strong-looking army. How many years under Democrats and during that Biden thing, that whole debacle, it was embarrassing to see ads for the military. I am so happy with Defense Secretary Hegseth because what we had previously was an embarrassment. I'd scroll on social media, and what would you see? Chinese army. Watching the Chinese army was frightening. Just perfect step. Every face looking exactly like the other. Determined, passionate, and deadly. In lockstep with each other. Taking up acres of roadway as they're marching. And you're like, that looks formidable. And then an ad for the United States military would come up, an Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines commercial. And it's, a transgender woman and a gay man with makeup on, putting his uniform on a carrier. And I mean, it was disheartening. It was disheartening. I recall some of the ads of the past. One of the greatest campaigns were from the Navy. They'd have Godsmack playing. Godsmack. And they'd show a submarine coming up. And just missiles and bombs. And you're like, yeah. With Godsmack blasting. I was ready to run to the recruiter. Just run. Too old. Oh, my sacroiliac. I'm sorry. I can't join up, fellas. But, and then we started seeing some of the commercials coming about, under the Trump administration and, approved by, Hegseth, I'm sure. And they're back to showing, guys rappelling out of helicopters with vicious Malinois wearing goggles. And they're dropping them on the beach. Guns, mortars, bombs. It's the military. Isn't that what you want? How did they get to the point where they thought a good military commercial to try to recruit the people that were best suited to defend this nation with prissy guys, transgender people, and showing girls in classrooms? This is the Army. What? Don't look like the Army. It looks like high school. I am so glad we are returning to some of those traditions. And speaking of the flyovers, that was amazing. Watching the Blue Angels practice in Pensacola. They're based out of Pensacola. The people there know the Blue Angels. They adore them. They're part of the community. The people in Pensacola, Florida, very, very proud of the Blue Angels. And the media, again, trying to lie about how disturbing it was. The screams of people that were frightened at this low-altitude pass. And I watched the stories, and you could see where, because I watched the videos on social media, and you could see where mainstream media news, the networks, clipped the people on the beach, the interviews. Oh, it was frightening. It came out of nowhere. I thought it was going to hit us. And then they cut it right there. Meanwhile, you watch the whole clip, and she goes, I thought it was going to hit us. It was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. They had a great time, and they show the tents getting blown over and a few chairs flying, some sand being kicked up, and the people are like, "Wah!" And then you just hear them hooting and hollering and clapping and going, holy crap. And it was amazing. It was so American. And look, I'm sure it's not the safest thing. I get it. I get it. These are some of the most skilled pilots, if not the most skilled pilots in the world flying those things. And I've seen them live a few times during Memorial Day over at Jones Beach on Long Island. And when those things pass, you get the bulk of them will fly and your eyes are on them. And then one sneaks up on you from the back. It is so fast and so loud, but you're just like, damn, that is awesome. America, yeah. I love it. Just love it. So good to see us get back to some of those traditions. Yeah, roid them up. Roid up our military, Hegseth. We're all with you. All right, people, thanks for another being an audience for another Anthony Cumia show. And we'll see you right back here next week. Anthony Cumia on X. Follow me there. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Anthony Cumia Show. You can hear the Anthony Cumia Show Sunday nights at 8. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?